If you're wondering why your hair is not growing, even though you're protective styling, whether that be with mini braids, mini twists, braids with hair extensions, or wigs and weaves, the answer is simple. The way you handle your hair when you take down those braids or whichever protective style you have is the reason why you are not retaining any length. When it comes to natural hair, specifically coily hair, you should never handle your hair when it's dry. Always add a bit of moisture into your hair before you do anything to it, whether that be doing a protective style, taking down a protective style, combing your hair, whatever it is, you should always add moisture first. So when it comes to something like detangling my natural hair, the moisture I like to add is from a conditioner with slip in it. So there's two kinds of conditioners I like to use for detangling. The first one is for Mira. Any Mira conditioner is great. I also use Tresemme conditioners, but I want you to know that they do have silicones in them. I personally don't mind using a product with silicone in them, and also they tend to be cheaper than natural hair products. Regular products tend to be a lot cheaper compared to natural hair products that are very expensive but come in small containers, so they won't last that long. And so I prefer to use regular conditioners. My advice when it comes to finding a conditioner you're going to use to detangle is I don't think you should stress too much about it, because you're not going to leave it in your hair for a long time anyway. So it's just enough for you to be able to get the tangles and knots out of your hair. I had mini twists for about a month and a week, and then the night before I took the mini twist out and then I put them in these large braids in order for me to have a easier time to detangle today, which is what we're doing in this video. So the first step is to undo the large braid, and then we're going to add the conditioner, and in this video we're using Mira conditioner, and then you're going to apply it to your hair, and then we're going to finger detangle, which is what I'm doing right now. You're going to focus on your ends as well, so we're going to make sure that you get through the knots with your fingers first before we move on to using a comb. Some people prefer to go straight to using a comb or a brush, which is fine if it works for them, but personally I prefer to start with my fingers just so I can feel for any knots and I can get them out easier, and also it forces me to be more gentle with my hair before I can go in with a comb. I mentioned earlier that an important thing to note when it comes to protective style is your takedown process. If you don't have the right technique and if you're not patient when you're dealing with your hair, having a protective style is basically useless, because you're retaining all that length with the style, but when it's time to take down the style and see the length that you have, you're basically ripping your hair out of your head and you're back to square one. You're stuck at the same length. So now we're going to go in with the comb. I use a wide tooth comb. You're going to start at the ends and then you're going to work your way up your hair strands. The comb is gliding through my hair very easily because I added a conditioner with slip and I finger detangled, and so the comb is just to make sure that my hair has been properly detangled. The reason why I'm twisting my hair now is that I don't want it to get caught up with the hair that I'm about to do next, and so I want to move it out of the way. Basically, this makes it easy for me to know which sections have been done. I would advise that when you're taking your protective style down, depending on which style you have done, so because I did mini twists, I know that my detangling process is going to take a while, so I prefer to pick a day where I know I'm not busy, I know I'm in a good mood, I'm not rushing anywhere, I have all the time in the world, so I'll be more gentle with my hair, especially my ends, because they are the oldest parts of your hair, and so how you handle them is very important because they also contribute to how much length you retain. If your ends are breaking off, you're going to be stuck at the same length. If you are gentle and patient with how you handle your hair and take down your style at the end of every month or whenever you take down your hairstyle, it's going to show in the length that you retain. Something else that's very important I want to point out is that, let's say you didn't retain length and you were doing everything right. Maybe you didn't retain length, but you did get thicker or fuller looking hair. So that's why I also advocate for finger detangling, because I feel like sometimes with a comb, some people tend to rip their hair out of their head, and so their hair might thin out, and so finger detangling might help some of you with getting thicker hair. So also look out for that. You might not retain length, but you do see some thickness in your hair. So it's very important to know that length is not the only indicator of your hair's health. Also thickness, but also if you have fine hair, it's okay. Having fine hair as a natural hair girly is okay. I think we're so used to seeing like big afros that we forget that there are people who have thinner ends. And another thing that I've noticed is that sometimes people will cut their ends thinking that if they cut their ends, their hair will go out fuller looking or thicker. But some people just genetically have thinner hair, and thin hair is also beautiful and it's okay. When it comes to the conversation of genetics, I think that people misunderstand. Some people think that genetics determine how long your hair is going to go. I disagree. You can do your research. Genetics determine the density or the thickness of your hair and how fast your hair goes, not how long it's going to go. So everyone can grow long hair. It's just going to take some people, a bit longer than the next person. And so I think it's important to not just blame genetics for everything. When it comes to the thickness of your hair, I can understand that argument being made. But there are certain things that some people can do to make their hair a bit fuller or a bit thicker than their natural hair. The important thing when it comes to natural hair is to keep things simple. I personally believe that the less you do, the better your hair is going to feel and look. So this is the amount of shed hair I've lost, and I really hope that this video has helped you learn something about how to handle your natural hair. It's all about being gentle, taking your time, and using a conditioner that has slip in it.